Okay. If you want to understand how the world works, then I highly suggest you watch this entire video. Because when I first came across this concept of spiral dynamics about 4 years ago, my mind was blown because everything made a lot of sense. Everything was pieced together pretty clearly about how people think and whatnot. So this was a model, kind of like a sociology model of how the world works. It was created by Don Beck and Claire Graves. And it's based on a lot of scientific surveys, going all around the world, understanding different cultures and things like that. But they essentially got this model down to basically like this pyramid. And pyramid is a great depiction of this because, essentially, the higher you go up in the pyramid, there's less people at that spiral dynamic stage across the world. And another thing to also note about this is that as you go up, it alternates between single and individualistic ways of thinking. So in the survival based way of thinking, it's more individualistic. Then it's collective with tribe and family. There's individualistic with power. Then so on and so forth. You get the idea. But I'm going to go through each level of the spiral, and then you'll start to understand how people in that spiral think and their different motivations. Now, why is this important to you? Well, if you're dealing with humans, you better understand how they work, and it's good to understand how you work. It's good to understand the way you think, why you think the way you do, and this will tell you a lot about why you gravitate towards certain things and you don't gravitate towards other things as well. It's powerful stuff here. Spiral dynamics can also tell you a lot about how people learn about things, what people will be open-minded to and what they'll be closed-minded to, and it could aid in other things like helping you understand what careers may fit best for you, or what type of relationship partner works better with you, based on worldview. So I'm going to go through this. Let's begin. So first we have the survival instinct stage. So this is very animalistic, just survival thinking. And um, there's not that many humans that are at this stage, like in terms of, you know, this is like their primary stage. Yes, we all have survival instincts, but humans at this stage are extremely primitive. In fact, it's more so a lot of non-human animals that fall under this stage of survival instinct. So, manage starvation, water, shelter, reproduction. Um, Human examples are like clans without chiefs, very animalistic and herd-like, right? Then we move up on the pyramid, and then we have tribe and family. So here you might see a lot of tribes that fall under this, of course. Um, Ancestor worship, traditions, rites of passage, us versus them, distinct gender roles. I am because we are, basically. You could also say hunter gatherer tribes fall under this as well. Even Native Americans as well. Some Native American tribes may fall under this as well. So what we see here is that it went from survival instinct to tribe and family, which is collective, and then it jumps back into um, authoritarian, right? So we had beige at the bottom, then purple for the more tribal kind of stage, and then the stage red deals with power, dominance, leverage, taking risk, warlords, gang leaders, um, adventurous types, warriors. Um, you could also say megalomaniacs as well. A lot of people with more psychotic dark triad tendencies will fall under stage red. You see politicians fall under this. I just talked about gang leaders, people that are very much in it for themselves, very much in it for power, very much in it for highly egoic purposes. And again, it swings back to the individualistic route. And then we go to the stage blue. It's like more of a navy. It's like a navy blue. And here You see a lot of this is where religion comes about. Essentially, um, up until this point, with stage red doesn't necessarily have like this like religious grounding that it operates from. It's very egoically driven. But then with blue, they start to believe in some sort of religion, some sort of higher power, and they live in accordance with this higher power. Also, other things like family values and patriotism, nationalism, very much following the scripture, following the rules, not questioning that. So a lot of times you might find that your parents fall under stage blue because of their upbringing, etc. And because of that, they clash with your values. You don't agree necessarily with their values. So there's that. I'm going to jump back really quick because I do want to make a distinction that I didn't before. But with stage purple and red, essentially, stage purple starts to um, think for itself more, but it thinks for itself very selfishly. And it also pairs that with a lot of violent thinking and getting ahead on others, deserting the tribe. That's when it gets into stage red. So I just wanted to make that caveat. But back to blue, we see here we have stability, law, purpose, and morality, discipline, sacrifice. Um, Sacrifice now to benefit later, rules based bureaucracy, hierarchical leadership, patriotism, organized religion, ideology. Right. So super religious folks, for example, you could say cops fall under stage blue as well. You can say people with really strong family values, for example, may fall under stage blue. And the thing about stage blue is that they don't like there's a common pattern of them not questioning these various things they've been told. They just operate from that. And then if they're challenged, they just refer to this thing as the truth. So if you challenge someone's religion in stage blue, they'll just say, "Well, the Bible says this, the Torah says this, etc., etc." So that's stage blue, and then from stage blue upward, this is when the individual starts, maybe thinking a little bit more critically. Not to say that religious people, whoops, I just hit my glass. Not to say that religious people don't think critically. Across the board, there are some that do. Uh, but with stage orange, there is actually a little bit more critical thinking going on, but not as much as the higher stages, which I'll get to soon. But with stage orange, there comes this idea back to individualism. There's this idea of success. There's this idea of um, competing, growing. Education is very much pushed. And because of that education, um, the stage blue values begin to devolve. They begin to dissolve because stage orange now has access to these other perspectives. Someone that's more stage orange may live in a more maybe a more well-off country or more metropolitan city with more of a melting pot, more of different perspectives. And when a country has more wealth flowing through it, there's more products, there's more advertising, there's more of that stuff going on to get so the person becomes stage orange because they're striving for this ideal that they're shown through these advertisements, through the stage orange culture. So the United States, for example, is a perfect example of stage orange. So here we have striving to succeed, competing for the best, goal oriented, strategic risk taking, merit based, scientific, entrepreneurial, free markets, pragmatic, nature, people as commodities. So a lot of businesses, for example, fall under stage orange. A lot of this, the public educational system, public school system, falls under stage orange in terms of how it teaches. You notice that they stay away from, for example, religious talking points a lot in terms of making it like dogmatic. They make it more general because it's a more of a stage orange type of curriculum. Whereas if you were to look at like a Sunday school Bible study, they would that would be a stage blue educational system. Its premises, its assumptions come from a book, a religious book. Now, what you notice with generations is that uh, there's a lot of clashing between parents and their children related to these different stages. And when I understood this, it made so much sense as to why I think so differently from my mother. It's because, me, I have some stage orange elements, but I have green and yellow. Whereas with her, it's more so blue and orange, you know? But continuing on, that's the thing there. Now, the thing about stage orange is that um, the person is very distracted by a lot of societal information. A lot of things they're told to be, a lot of things they're told to do. Now, of course, you could be stage orange and want your own things. Like, obviously, like for example, me, I'm a business owner, right? That's a stage orange side of me. So we're not just this one category. We're like a mixture of things, but one category can kind of dominate the others. If you, especially after you just look at what you tend to do, what you tend to gravitate towards, you kind of have an understanding of what area of the spiral you're more dominant in. But continuing on, when Stage Orange starts to think a little bit more open mindedly, Stage Orange starts to not take themselves too seriously. They start to look at others. They start to think about what's in it for other people. Maybe empathy grows a little bit. Now you get the humanistic egalitarian Stage Green. So this is people focused, restore nature and humanity, mindfulness, consensus, community, diversity, inclusion, equality, social justice, human rights, inner meaning, fairness, social networks. So what you find here is that there's more liberal thinking going on in stage green, more progressive thinking, more what can we do to help the people that can't even help themselves or to help more people? How can I think beyond just myself? So there's less of a conservative leaning thinking, more of an open mindedness. And even with that topic of liberalism and conservatism, um, there can be liberals and conservatives in different parts of the spiral. That's how like kind of nuanced this gets. So it's easy to say like, okay, liberals are more on the green or yellow side, maybe, and orange, and then conservatives are more on the red, blue, and orange side. You could say that if you're speaking in generality, but there are those like examples where that's not the case at all, right? So remember this is a model, so it's not perfect, but it's a good way to categorize things and such. But with every model, there are always nuances, just like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There are nuances there. But continuing on, um, people that are high in empathy, people that are, you know, giving back, they're giving back to nonprofits, they're donating clothes, they're saving animals. People like that stage green in how they operate. And then we go to stage yellow, which is kind of being more of a dynamic thinker, functional, pragmatic, highly competent, embraces paradoxes. So this is huge. The ability, what makes stage yellow so unique is that they can embrace these various paradoxes and take different um, sides of the coin. They're not too bogged down by you know, their survival way of thinking of like, oh, this benefits me, so I must be right. They're more open minded to these various other perspectives. So manage natural flow of life, thrive and help healthy hierarchy, authority, boundaries, both and. So there's a lot of that nuanced, able to take different perspectives, able to play devil's advocate with themselves, able to reflect, take responsibility. And a lot of times people in stage yellow do make great leaders because of that. They're not so power hungry like stage red, where they're so individually focused. Although this is back to an individually focused kind of place in the spiral, it's nowhere near the same as how red is. So that's why this is a hierarchy. As you go up, there's less people at that stage globally, and the sophistication in how that stage is thinking is higher, right? So that's a key thing there. A lot of times with stage yellow people, they can understand the world pretty well. And it's because they are not bogged down by an ideology too much, which allows them to go very meta in their thinking. And then at the top here, we have the turquoise stage, which is presence, individualism, non duality, identity, as the system connects worldwide to solve global challenges, not separate from nature, fractal, global, heart, and brain. And yes, I would say that's part of me as well. Stage turquoise too. Um, this is non-dualistic thinking. This is the sage. You know, this is the Indian guru that has seen his ego for what it is. This is the individual that understands that ego is a construct. He understands that everything is created, everything is one. There is no separation. And it's hard to really, it's not easy to hold this perspective 24/7. It can take time. Maybe it comes more naturally to some people than others. I know for sure meditation has helped me a lot with this, but this is such a critical thing uh, that gives you so much peace is when you understand that no matter what's going on, everything is connected. That there's a play to all of this. There's a game to this to a degree. So this person does not see themselves separate from a rabbit or from a ladder or from a car or from their worst enemy, from anyone or anything. It sees that they are literally made from the same substance as that thing they view as separate. So whatever distance you see from yourself and an object near you, you can pick an object. You and that thing, there that distance isn't really there. Your senses may show you that there is distance there, but there actually isn't. It's because everything is one or everything is energy. So that's the stage turquoise way of thinking. So when you come at it from that perspective, you can imagine that this person may not be so identified with worldly things, or worldly things just won't get to that person as much. So that is spiral dynamics. I didn't want to make this video too long, but when you delve into this and understand this, the world will make so much sense, and you'll probably not be as frustrated by people as much because you understand there's a certain paradigm and worldview they operate from. Hope you found value in this video. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Gem Veda community. Um, Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. And if you have questions, definitely let me know as well. Stay tuned for my next video. Also, I have a lot of new resources coming out for you guys, so be on the lookout for those. Peace.